we had a shortfall really of around £40,000 a year for our families and youth ministry. Previously we'd relied on some grants, including from the diocese and others, along with giving, but we would come to the end of those grants and we realised that if we wanted this to be sustainable, it needed to be as much as possible self-sustainable. And so we realised that we needed to have a big campaign to demonstrate what was going on, to inspire people in terms of their generous giving, so that it wasn't just us saying, please give us more money, we can't pay the bills. So we had this big campaign. We needed to raise £40,000 a year, and we reached 90% of that for the following 3 years within a few months of starting the campaign.
We really wanted people to feel that this isn't just paying for running expenses. This is actually advancing the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's so important. And when we touch people's hearts by sharing the gospel impact that their giving is making, that's when people really think, I want to get behind this. I need to be able to contribute to this.
So the way that we tried to communicate that was to increase the visibility for everybody about what was happening with our youth and families work, especially for our morning congregation, which tends to be an older demographic and where there isn't as much of the families and youth ministry actually occurring, but actually very lovely, generous givers. We wanted them to get a bigger picture of what was actually happening throughout the week, later on a Sunday, and all of those kind of things. So we produced new material, written material, leaflets which summarised what was going on. We tried to include something every week from our families and youth in the newsletter that goes out to everybody, and we encouraged our youth and families workers and volunteers to come and share in the Sunday morning services stories of things that are going on. We've taken big groups to May Camp, for example, and had young people make wonderful steps of faith while they've been there, so we heard those stories. We've had excellent one-off events with lots of people coming and then coming back and wanting to keep coming to church, and so we told some of those stories. We just tried to tell the story really of what was happening, aware that for a lot of people in church who were giving very generously, they didn't always see the fruit of that.
And we also talked about what it would take to reach that target. So how many pounds a week does it take to do £40,000? How many people giving how many pounds does that result in the £40,000 being raised? And we found that it was much more approachable that way. People could say, okay, 40,000 is a huge number, but actually £20 a month times 20 or 30 people, that begins to make a huge contribution.
So in terms of the sort of various schemes and initiatives that we make use of, we use the Parish Giving Scheme. That was in place before I got here, and we continue to encourage people to do that. Obviously there are other ways of giving. We have introduced a contactless card machine which is portable, so we have it in church on the Sunday and then it's in our church centre during the week. We run a community cafe during the mornings of the week, and so it's useful for that donation basis. And also when we're doing other things, we can take it with us if we're looking to raise money at other events. My experience is that people give when they really believe in what you're doing, when they really believe in the good news of Jesus, and they really love other people and want to see them come to know Jesus, because that's what I think gives a heart for sacrificial, generous giving. It's not just about what do I get out of this month that I'm putting in, but what do I see other people get out of it that I'm putting money into. And I firmly believe that that's what will lead to generous giving, is that sacrificial belief in the need for other people to come to know Jesus.